Welcome. As a Christian, a Jew, or a Muslim, if you read Micah 4 verse 5, it tells us that all the nations may walk in the name of their gods, but we will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever. As for every melanin dominant human being, this verse may actually be referring to our divinity, so-called gods or goddesses, Mondoro, Amalinda, Orishas, and known by many other names in many other tribes that predated every Hebrew, every Muslim, and every Christian. So Christianity, Islam came from Judaism, which is portrayed as purely monotheistic. This is their claim. And they say they are the only ones that can connect us to the Creator, which is a huge lie, because they practice polytheism and they preach monotheism. We are going to prove it very shortly. This polytheism that they practice cannot be taken as an exception or an error that crept into their literature or into their practices, but on the contrary, it is there at the ancient. They have deceived billions thus far by championing monotheism, which they do not really know. Our title today that I want to tackle is Each Nation Has Its Own Gods. Now Africa has Jesus and Allah. While each nation has its own gods or divinities, Africa has been forced or manipulated to accept Jesus and Allah, accept their own. Even our African governments, our African leaders, prominent people, they do not even at any given point in time promote our own divinities. What can we do? Christians, Jews, Muslims do not hide their polytheistic beliefs. They do preach monotheism, but their culture and practices are replete with polytheistic habits. They are not an imageless religion. Most of their gods they worship and acknowledge as gods. They do not say they are gods, but they hide behind the names like archangels, angels, or demons. And they've got symbols and signs and logos. So they can't be monotheistic. For Muslims who claim to be monotheistic and lambast others for worshipping idols, they have got what is known as the black stone. They are not an imageless religion. They have got images and the symbols and the books and holy places. So they can't be monotheistic. On one hand, the Bible, which is the major source of the Quran, acknowledges many gods and portrays Yahweh as competing and in competition with these other gods. He says, "You shall not have no other gods before me." And he said he's a jealous God, punishing the sins of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate him. In the Old Testament, we realize that they are the sons of gods who are transformed as fallen angels. In Genesis 6:2, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. Genesis 6:4, the sons of God came into the daughters of men. Job 1:6, the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. Job 2, Job 38, all the sons of God shouted for joy when the earth was being created. And this word God is Elohim, is plural. So the Bible is the major source of our polytheistic philosophy. Then the question is, how did the mighty melanin dominant human race collapse? Why? What happened so that at the end of the day, and we bow down and worship the divinities of those that colonized us? We were so advanced. You can see here the Sun Temple of Nusere in Memphis, 2400 BCE. It is clear that we were powerful and we were so wonderful and so intelligent. The only thing that points us to this intelligence and power is that at the time we were connected directly to our own gods, to our own divinities. And today, because of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, we are a failed nation. So, what was the cause of our collapse? What happened to us? We know that central government of the old kingdom broke down as local and provincial officials became increasingly powerful, leading to civil war and squabbling. So it is very, very clear that we collapsed on our own. Economic problems, drought and famine, weakened kingdom. We had a 200-year severe drought in that part of Africa, northeast and eastern part of Africa in 2200 BCE. There are and records that the flooding of the Nile ceased for almost 50 years. That drought. There is an explanation that you may not accept or agree to, but it is a credible explanation because our ancestors named a divinity after that incident. We failed to deal with the forces of this divinity. Ububi or Shatter, the Greek calls him, set of Apophisa or Apopipa. This is the god of chaos, darkness, the desert, and the drought. There is our king. This divinity represents the principle of evil and negation or negativity. You can see him here. He was now transformed as Shaitan in Islam, as Satan in Christianity, and the devil in modern language. Because of that, our failure to control and harness and use this negative force for our advantage, we became confused, weak, and Shatter allowed other races to overrun us. These other races know the real centers of our power, and one of those centers lies with the divinities or the gods. So they easily substituted these gods and gave us their fictitious man-made divinities. Through our zeal and our belief, we empower these divinities every Sabbath, every Sunday, every Friday when we attend the mosque or the church or the synagogue. Our real enemy, Shatter, then is having a field day. If you are a melanin dominant human and at the same time a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, or anything else other than thyself, being melanin dominant and your culture and cultural congruence, rest assured you have been deceived by these religions purportedly championing monotheism, which they do not know. Divinization is our earthly work through Mahatic or Unu principles. To achieve this earthly goal, intense and practical purpose involves actualizing natural science merged with morality practiced as Mahati, Unu, Nzoputa, Ubantu, Isindiso, Chipulumutso, intellectual development with spirituality and religion attached to agriculture. This is what my Marifado Family Group is advocating and teaching. What has this got to do with us as melanin dominant human beings? The highest goal of moral and technical education in ancient Africa was for a person to become divinized, whilst still flesh and blood, for the purpose of death. Becoming divinized has now been lost to us due to the forfeiture of our own gods for other people's gods. The forfeiture goes on in our misunderstanding of the battle of the gods which lies within us. As Horesu and Shatter, the devil. You need to become Horesu to conquer your lower demons of self or Shatter. Where only then will your lower nature, the Intu of the bar, support the soul, the higher self, the divine self. Sadly, billions are unaware of these forces of nature alive within them, and they look outside themselves as Christians, as Jews, as Muslims, etc., for these same forces of nature which always lie dormant within them and only activated negatively by the cues given in these religions. Our stolen divinities are now disguised as angels. Each nation has its own gods. Now Africa has Jesus and Allah. This is the source of the angels you find in all religions, which is our ancient Enid, the 9 divinities, beginning with Atema, which means dark or ass, and Ra, Shu, Tefnat, Ged, and Nute, Nephthys, Ausari, Isisu, and Shata. And these give us Anobisa and Oresu. Our 9 divinities now are found in many other religions, as the 9 choir angels found in Christianity, as well as in Islam. These are the divinities, or so-called angels in Islam, who teaches you that they are monotheists when they have got angels that they borrowed from our 9 divinities in ancient Hamid. This is very, very clear and very, very straightforward. These are the angels in Islam and their divinities. I'll give an example, a simple example. Jibril or Michael, messages, or Method. This is the man who gave Muhammad the message. Straightforward. And the seraphim, you know them, and the virtues, as well as the cherubim, the thrones, the dominions, the powers, the principalities, the archangels, as well as other angels in Christianity. This is it. They stole from you, and they teach you not to worship them. In the Brahma Samhita, a Sanskrit Pankarata text composed of verses and prayers, you find that they have changed our divinities. In chapter 6, verse 6 of 1-2, it says, the Lord was dressed in yellow garments or golden garments and had blackish complexion, a muntu. And now they changed him, Lord Krishna, to look like that. In India, that's what happened. Again, in the same place, in India, we have Buddha who was like that, whom they changed to look like this. This is proof. There is proof of it everywhere. All of that is ours. Our great spirit Isisu looked like this, and now Mother Mary, she looks like that. Even Semiramis now looks like that, or Ishtore looks like that. The god of healing, Imutepo, his mother Kareduanku looked like this, and now they look like that. And they tell you that Hippocrates is the father of medicine. The Q is in the word hypocrite, so you don't need to worry much about that. Here is how we can turn this around: by only assessing and going back to become melanin dominant human being and experiencing cultural congruence and interacting with the revered ancestors and divinities, and restoring Ubuntu Ma'at heritage as well as Afro salvation mysteries. That's the way we can turn around the clock and become again a nation of greatness. There really is only one African culture. This is very, very straightforward. This is the Ankh of life, Cushitic Emitic depiction of Ausari, the God self seated on the throne here and supported by his wife, which is family. And also here again the same thing in the Yoruba depiction of Obatala, the God self seated on the throne and is supported by his wife Yemoja and their children. This is very, very, very important to realize. As we ignore our own cultural divinities and deities and gods, and we are told not even to bow down to them, we know that others are using them. In Exodus 12:12, we are told that this God that has defeated us now actually started by defeating the divinities that we held inside us, not outside, but inside us. For I'll pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn, us, and in the land of Egypt, both men and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I execute judgment. I am the Lord. This has not been fulfilled because our divinities are still working for those that call upon them. If you don't call upon them because you have been defeated, they do not work. Your ignorance of self is the power of these oppressors. Now, you must know that if Moses was learned in all the wisdom of ancient Egypt, what did he learn? It's about what we know, what we share as the divinities. Others tell you not to do it. Islamic practice of Salat, 5-day prayers, was stolen from a concept of 5 daily meditations practiced throughout Africa thousands of years before Islam became a figment in any Arabic mind. This is it, straightforward, no two ways about that. Now, living under Ubuntu or Bantu salvation culture is a life worthy striving for, so that attaining ancestorhood and its extralogical gain is assured. This will eject you out of the reincarnation cycle or rebirth logjam. You must have practical knowledge based on rejecting these other divinities, because it's you who is empowering them. Remember, each nation has its own gods. Now Africa has Jesus and Allah. These are not yours. Yours are praise be unto thee, O Ra, thou exalted power, who dost enter into the habitations of the Amenti. Behold, thy body is a tomb, or atema. Atema means melanin dominant human beings. Praise be unto thee, O Ra, thou exalted power, who dost enter into the hidden palace of Anubisa. Behold, thy body is kupela, tina, us. Alright? That's very, very straightforward. For melanin dominant humans, it's Ubuntu, Bantu, Ma'ati, which is our salvation in action. To learn more, send us an email on john@marifado.com. Subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Iburu Ethics. It's time to spew out these other gods and embrace yours. And remember, when they say the saints or someone is made a saint, it is Indlozi, Midzimu, or Mashabi. These people copied us, toe to toe, hair to hair, and they turned everything around to practice and teaches you to stop practicing what gives you power. I've experienced it. Everyone has experienced it. Who turns back to these divinities? Till we meet again, Edupe Siyabonga, Tatenda, thank you, Enkos, Asante Sana.